Town of Bellefonte, the Alabama legislature established Riley's on Mud Creek as a voting site 5 days after Jackson County was created on December 13, 1819. Shortly thereafter, Stephen Carter and George W. Higgins purchased James Riley's 640-acre Cherokee Reserve, according to local history. Carter and Higgins renamed Riley's on Mud Creek to Bellefonte after the spring which served as the town's water supply and sold lots in the town. On December 15, 1821, the Alabama legislature incorporated 60 acres in Bellefonte. 6 years later, the legislature extended Bellefonte's corporate limits to include 100 acres of land donated to the county by Carter and Higgins. Bellefonte was selected as Jackson County's first permanent seat of justice, and a 2-story brick courthouse was erected in 1828. Man, it looks like they cleaned it up for you. And for the citizens of Jackson County. So we'll take a tour. I'll go ahead and walk on up here. Well, there is no doubt there's a lot of the stones that are in disrepair have been turned over. And broken. But I think it's been like that for some period of time. Actually, it looks like they've done a pretty good job cleaning it up. Now, there's a hole here. It looks like where a tree was. That could be a collapse into a grave. That should be filled in. And unfortunately, somebody threw some trash down in it. Have another grave area over here. It looks like it's caving in and has caved in. This would be a problem right here. Unfortunately, I must tell you, this appears like there's a trench here that's been dug. This is not good. Of course, the question, I'm a suspicious type person anyway. Question pops in my mind, has there been any attempts to break into these graves? This looks an awful lot like a dug trench. And I'm going to see what else is out here. Here's another collapse that's in the process of taking place. Well, I gotta tell you, there's evidence of collapses all over the cemetery. I don't know if it's heavy equipment's been brought in here to clean this off, or the ground's giving way because of the wet weather, or what. There's another hole right here. You can see there's a rather big dip in the ground right over here. All through here there's several dips. It's evidence of collapsing, which I'd say is probably grave sites. As these are in a row, I'll go over here to the other side, and that's a carved rock right down there, and it's in a collapse. But these have a specific line to them, and it extends out into the woods here also. But I want to get this. Where I'm looking here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grave sites. It's in the process of collapsing in. Another one over by the tree here. There's other collapsing going on here. If they're bringing heavy equipment out here, they're running a risk of collapsing a lot of these grave sites. You got trees that's been cut, which the clearing's good. But it looks like there's been, like I say, heavy equipment's been brought out here, and this could be partially responsible for collapsing the ground. Well, I actually thought this was going to be a short video. It looks like it's going to turn into a little bit more extensive video. As I'm looking around, there's a lot of collapsed areas through here. Another hole. Okay, I'm gonna walk over here to the Martin grave. Before I do that, got areas of collapse here. Here's a marker on the ground. Part of a marker or marker rock, marker stone. And part of the old fence is knocked down on this this area here. Marker of the Nailers. Company B, 9th Regiment, Alabama Cavalry. This is a Woodman of the World marker here. And it's also bothersome, whoever's out here have thrown their trash on the ground. As you've seen back a while ago, there was cigarette packs that were thrown out down in a hole. And the marker's been recently hit. Crawford. And we've got markers that's been run completely over by the backhoe. Excuse me, the tractor that's bush hogged this. Another collapsed grave. Another hole next to the collapsed grave. So I'm looking at these holes. I'm wondering if some of these aren't dug. The ones that we've seen back there, obviously there's a trench dug in that one. That's just been run over. you know, they're going to work, at least they can take their trash with them. I'm sure the work is appreciated by all, and it is. But fellas, you got to take your trash with you when you leave. Destruction of graves is a crime. Trashing up graveyards is a crime. Destroying grave markers is a crime. Digging and stealing in graves is a crime. I mean, you got the Civil War veterans buried in this cemetery. To intentionally destroy these graves is a criminal act. This video will be placed on YouTube and on Facebook in the Jackson County Historical Site. Another collapsed grave here. It takes a lot of work to maintain a historical graveyard of this nature. Careful work, considerate work, not just the haphazard coming in and running over stuff and destroying what is here. Destroying what's already been problematic. But once again, we'll take another little closer look at this. This particular area right here, this marker has been dug around. Trash down in the hole here. Again, this looks to be like it's been trenched at one time. I don't know how long ago it's been trenched. And it is actually, if we look, I just don't like the looks of this. More trash left on the gravestone, water bottle. More collapsing of the ground. Again, there's collapsing evident all through here. You got brush piled up on the edges. Trees cut. It's been cleared, no doubt. However, it has not been given the respect that it's due. That I have a problem with, and other people should too. This is Gary Morgan at the Bellefonte Historical Site, Bellefonte Cemetery. I'm going to go back and place this video onto YouTube. Some of this, the collapse on the graves is natural. others have is of concern, particularly the trenching up in the area near between where I'm at now and the Martin grave marker. Again, this is Gary Morgan at the Bellefonte Historical Cemetery on a rainy day in March. And the cemetery has been cleared, but as you've seen, there are some concerns. The other side of the sign, Bellefonte Cemetery. Before the courthouse was completed, the community selected a location for a cemetery. The highest elevation in Bellefonte's corporate limits was chosen as the town's burial place. The earliest inscribed marker in Bellefonte Cemetery bears the date 1826. The Civil War exacted a heavy toll on Bellefonte. The Federal Army burned the courthouse and the town never recovered. The town square was sold at public auction in 1878. Only the Bellefonte Cemetery remains of the bustling Riverport town, which was Jackson County's seat of justice from 1828 until November 1868. In 1936, TVA survey identified 229 grave plots and 57 inscribed markers in the cemetery. Recent surveys of the cemetery show many graves with plain limestone rocks and numerous unmarked graves. The Jackson County Historical Association began efforts to preserve the Bellefonte Cemetery in 2005. They placed the marker here to honor those individuals who established the 19th century town of Bellefonte, Alabama. The Alabama Historical Commission listed the Bellefonte Cemetery in the Alabama Historical Cemetery Register in 2006. As you've seen in the video, there is also numerous military grave markers within the cemetery, Confederate. Any military burials deserve respect. It looks good, it's been cleared, but there is a problem with intentional running over or unintentional running over some of the grave markers. There's also appears to have been some trenching in the cemetery. Don't know the purpose of that. It is bothersome and it would be a further investigation be warranted.